I haven't seen y'all going live in a minute. Yeah, we haven't, and that kind of goes into also what I was talking about some change. So we've been looking at, so God has been moving our direction. He's been moving our direction from where with that, you have to step back. When it's time for certain things to change or God wants different things from you, you end up stepping back, because if you keep going full stream ahead, you just kind of burn out and get tired of doing it. And y'all know that we've covered, we've done a lot of content that was political, political content and stuff like that. And, stuff that's going on in the Black community that we tired of seeing. But God has wanted us to move in a direction of that glorifies him more so, but in these times of things that are going on in the world. So with that, the other things that we're doing prior just have not been giving me specific. I can't speak for my wife, but I brought her along, as I start talking about it, she start understanding more and more, but the content things we're doing just not giving me fulfillment. Not giving me joy. And it gets to a point to where you're feeling like, YouTube, when you get on YouTube, this is supposed to be what you enjoy. It's a passion, but it starts to feel more like a job. And I know God it's a reason why y'all have come to us. And it's a reason why he allowed y'all to be able to connect with us. And we know it's just getting more than just talking about what Black folks doing and what's going on in politics. So with that, God has been moving us along to his content, where we have been looking to cover more things that are going on in the world. Now, the crazy stuff going on in the world, but why it ties back to God and what's going on, which is giving more fulfillment. But we still have to pull back, and we have to see how we're led to do the content, and not just doing content. There's so many other people you can go do that. And honestly, a lot of times when I'm looking at the content like that, it's fruitless. I don't even watch a lot of stuff like that. Go ahead.
So for me, I'm going to say we view content very differently.
Yeah.
When it comes to doing content, I have a passion for content. I know my message is, my voice is, God has given me a voice, and on multiple different platforms, he's allowed, people to attract the right people, and people come on. So I view content a lot different from how he sees content. But the type of content we're doing, I'm definitely in agreement with. Just how we're moving about it, I'm like, no, we need to be pounding the pavement, getting the content out as we shift. So that's pretty much what we're doing. We have, when God has called you to do something, like everybody has a purpose, whether you are tapped into it fully or you're trying to figure it out, or you've been called in a specific area to do more than what you're doing. You have to be able to listen, or you'll be going in life just bouncing around, bouncing from this wall to that wall to that wall, and without stability, because at heart you're truly not doing what God has called you to do, and that's because of the way you feel. So I can agree when it comes to fulfillment, that it's about fulfillment. It's not just about the views. So that's why we had to listen and say, okay, let's do what we know God has called us to do. But we've been talking about God in our content for a while now. We had to allow him to, not be afraid and
losing people.
Yeah, because that's pretty much what it is when you really, but in order to speak, what he wants you to speak, but just acknowledge him is like, it is what it is. I'm not going to hide it. So,
but there's so many things going on in the world that it's so easy to cover content with the world and pointing that back to things that are going on in life.
But that's not where I was going with that. I was going with that meaning where people are, if you're scared to even, say his name or acknowledge something to him within your content on your platform. It doesn't have to be specifically tied to him. You could just be doing a particular video, and then, you're acknowledging something about God in your video, but it may not necessarily be directly about God.
It don't have to be.
So that's all I'm saying. At first, we weren't really putting God out there like that. But now that, that was like the door opener, I guess, the icebreaker. And then it just led to, okay, what do you want us to do? Where are we going with this? And it's about purpose.
Because what's the point of having 150,000 people and there's no impact? There gets to be a point to where just doing content just to do content gets fruitless and you burn out. And then what happens is people notice that, and then they only go to the people that do this particular kind of content. We're ready to be where y'all come to see us for particular things, not just doing general all over the board kind of content. That's over. And also with that too, The past month has been a pretty tough because I recently had surgery and it's just been having me out, and it has been, has me out to where I haven't been wanting to record because it's been a little exhausting. So, but I'm recovering. God is healing me. Everything's coming back to normal. But with that, it's been a lot of learning about, myself and, where the direction we're starting to go with this content.